Prepare to embark on a journey of epic proportions as we unveil the Aphrodite League, the ultimate battleground where the most skilled players in Legends of Runeterra clash for eternal glory. Within every league of this all-year tournament, 8 players test their mettle each month, vying for promotion, fighting against demotion and etching their names into the annals of Runeterra history. The qualification tournament serves as the ultimate trial by fire, determining the initial hierarchy of the Aphrodite League. Here, all entrants clash in an epic free-for-all to claim their starting positions within the league system. Only the top contenders ascend to the Alpha League, while the remaining ranks are distributed evenly into subsequent leagues of 8 players each. The tournament adapts to the number of participants, creating as many leagues as needed to uphold the structure. Those who falter and place beyond the cutoff, however, find themselves cast aside, their aspirations halted at the gates of competition. As the league takes shape, 8 champions emerge from the ranks to form the roster for an example run.
It's Draven time!
Follow the wind, but watch your back.
I'd rather be anywhere than here.
What delightful agony we shall inflict.
Another day in the field.
I am more than I seem.
Rules are made to be broken, like buildings or people.
I'm always up for a round or two.
On the first Saturday of the month, the league commences with a double round-robin group stage where players are divided into 2 groups of 4 based on their seeding. Each competitor faces every other player in the group twice, fighting tooth and nail to secure a coveted top spot. Matches here are more than just victories, they are already stepping stones to the final stages. The rankings at the end of this phase determine the seeding for the high-stakes playoffs. The second Saturday of the month transforms the competition into a dynamic playoff bracket that tests both skill and resilience. Players are matched based on their performance in the group stage, with the number of wins required to advance to the finals directly tied to their rank in the groups. Higher ranked players benefit from shorter paths, needing fewer victories, while lower ranked competitors must navigate a more grueling journey to keep their championship hopes alive. In this system, every match carries significant weight. Top performing players from the group stage enjoy a distinct advantage, but even those starting in less favorable positions have a chance to climb back into contention through perseverance and smart play. The playoff structure rewards consistency while offering redemption for those who can adapt and overcome. By the end of the day, only the most deserving players will have secured their places in the final stage, setting the stage for a thrilling conclusion of the month's competition. The journey culminates on the third Saturday with the decisive finals and elimination stage. This stage is not just a battle for titles, but a war to secure or reclaim honor, prestige, and progression. Both the finals and elimination stage will feature a double elimination bracket, in which the grand final will be replayed if necessary. The top 2 players from each league ascend to the next higher tier, carving a path toward the coveted Alpha League, the apex of skill and prestige. The bottom 2 players are cast down into the league below, making room for new challengers hungry for glory. The fourth Saturday of each month offers a smaller qualification tournament where aspiring players from across the community can compete for spots in the lowest league of the hierarchy. Here, legends are born as newcomers seize their chance to enter the league system and climb the ranks. In the Aphrodite Alpha League in its cascading tiers, every card played, every decision made, and every moment matters. This is more than just a competition, it is a proving ground for champions. Will you rise through the ranks, outplay your opponents, and claim your place among the legends? Or will the unforgiving tides of demotion sweep you away into obscurity? The Aphrodite League beckons. Step forward. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my utmost pleasure to welcome you to the Aphrodite Alpha League knockout stage. The tension is high, the tension is big, because only 4 of the 8 competitors left in the competition will make it to the final bracket. And because the tension is so high, I am not here alone. I am joined by Never Walk Alone to support me throughout the day. Hi, Stan. Are you excited?
Hello, Runeterra. I'm so excited to be here today, especially with Felix, and yeah, there will be some banger games today. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, that is very well said. In this knockout stage, we are going to see the new triangle bracket for the very first time in action. Remember last week in group stage, every competitor fought for a high seed in this triangle bracket, and yeah, in this week's competition, people will fight whether they will end up in the final bracket or in the elimination bracket, having to fight against demotion from the Alpha League. So I would say maybe we can take a look at today's bracket and see what today's matchups are going to be. Because as you rightfully said, Stan, we have some banger matchups up ahead.
And I'm also very excited to see how the triangle bracket gonna work in a competitive environment, because I've never seen this in a tournament before when I was participating in them. So yeah, I am really curious, and we will see. As Felix said, there will be 4 players advancing to the semifinals today, and 4 players that gonna be defending themselves from elimination for the next week.
That is correct, and by now we have the bracket and also the lineups on the screen, and we can see our starting game for today will be Newman against Lunaya. Those are the 2 players that scored rank 1 in their respective group last week, and we can also already see their lineup. We see on Newman Aphrodite, Victor, Zillion, Echo, Draven, Jinx, which is a lineup he already brought with a lot of success last week in the group stage, while Lunaya is orienting from a very high-paced aggro playstyle in groups to Victor Heimerdinger, Triangle Volibear, and Kindred Mordekaiser. So it feels like she wants to take things slow today, or?
Yeah, so basically Lunaya shifted like 360, and now she is on a totally different lineup, playing control instead of aggro. We've seen her last week on triple aggro, if I remember correctly. Or at least she was playing Lurk. That's something I'm sure. But the important thing that you can notice, so the triangle bracket is starting from the match of the winners from the both groups from last week, and either Newman or Lunaya gonna play today just one BO3 and to be safe for the semifinals. So that is a reward for playing very well last week. And yeah, there is possibility of playing today just one BO3 for one of those players.
That is totally correct, and maybe as a further explanation for those who missed out on the formal explainer, the way the triangle bracket works is that you can see on the long side of the bracket, I would say, of the triangle, you have the games A1, A2, A3, A4, and those represent the ranks 1, 2, 3, 4 from the group stage. And for every game one player wins, or every match, you move 1 spot to the right in the triangle. So if we look at Newman versus Lunaya, the very first match at the top that we can see here, the spot to the right is actually a spot in the finals. But if we look into game A2, for example, with the both rank 2s from the group stage, Zerg and Vendorti. If one of them wins their match, they move one to the right, which is the game B1, and from there they have the spot to get their ticket into finals. On the other hand, if you lose your match, you move one down, and this means you see on the lower end of the triangle the red spaces. And this is for the players that are going to play in the elimination bracket in the upcoming week. So, do you see any favorites here? Maybe some chances for upsets in the bracket?
So once again, I really like this format. I think it's a very interesting format. And if you're asking me about the players, I think the competition is like almost at the same level right now. Like we see here the best players not only from MEA server, but we have also two players that are originally from APAC, but they are here to compete. Maybe to beat like some against some European players. Also, I owe you like some form of explanation, because you might be wondering why APH Buff Nightfall has already one match won, but this is because we are not having today 80 Megapuros. The same as last week, but if you missed us last week, that's an explanation. Because you might be wondering. So we have seven players today. So majority of them gonna advance to the semifinals, and we will be able to watch them on the stream in the next week.
Yes, and as you correctly said, we have seven competitors that are at the same level, which is the very high end of skill in Legends of Runeterra, and therefore small differences will make small mistakes or outplays will make the difference in this format here. And maybe we can look at the small changes they might do to their deck lists and dive deeper into the lineups. And we start with Lunaya and her Victor Heimerdinger list, which is quite standard, I would say. I don't see any checks. I am kind of missing the Forge Chief that some people like to play as an aggro defense. Other than that, very common list.
I agree, but I see also some small differences from a list that most people are playing. I do not see any expensive spell. I do not see either a singular wheel that is like answer for some RAM decks, for example, or I don't see the 10 mana spell, which I forgot the name as always.
Evolution.
Exactly. As a win-con, as a one-off, it's played in the most decks, but instead of that, I see triple Rocket Barrage. That's probably because Luna is expecting a lot of aggro decks that are going wide, and that's in general a good answer for this meta, because if you think about it, the spell hits perfectly both champions in the mirror, for example. So it hits Victor and Heimer ideally.
Yeah.
With the 4 damage.
Yeah, but Lunaya plays a singular will in her second deck actually, which is the Trundle Volibear Ionia variation. Interestingly, only on 2 Volibears, but since it's a high-end unit, that is totally understandable. I really like the capsize one-off, being able to interrupt a combo or tempo-based decks, and as I already mentioned, the one of singular will here. And just the same as with Victor Heimerdinger, this list wants to stall the game until mana 9, mana 10, 11, and then win with just an overwhelmingly strong board.
Just a standard ramp list. When you want to try to achieve like a big pool of mana ASAP, and then you play a big creatures. And it's working pretty well.
Exactly. And Stan, what can you tell me about Lunaya's third deck?
So Lunaya is playing SI as a third deck. Again, it fits really well the control lineup. I see one of Ruination just to have the surprise factor, just to force opponents. So they need to think about the card. They need to play around it. This is the Kindred version, which is like very good into dealing with bigger threats because she can always mark the opponent bigger unit, even by killing their own units. So that's I really like this version. But the one thing interesting I see is eradication. That's not a standard thing I'm seeing in this list. But it's again probably because Lunaya is expecting smaller decks with smaller creatures, like decks going wider or like aggro ones.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that. But now we've seen three very slow decks, and as I already said, Newman rebrings his lineup from groups, which is a bit more fast-paced. Well, this first deck maybe doesn't fit the description too well, but we have Aphilos Victor, and what I notice at first glance, we have a surprisingly high amount of one-offs, most notably Sunken Temple, Glorious Evolution, and Mikhail's Blessing. Stan, why do we play so many different one-offs, so many techs in this deck?
Maybe Newman is really can't wait to play the Seraphine again in the standard. That's why he decided to play the Seraphine style deck. I don't know,
Yeah.
but that's also something that I'm looking maybe with the next rotation to get Seraphine back. I hope, but honestly, like putting a lot of one-offs means that opponent totally do not know what card they can expect and what card they should play around. So it makes opponent's life way harder.
Yes, exactly. This is a concept we talk about over and over again in those open tick list formats, because the opponent always has to reconsider, do I really go for keeping landmark removal into a one of Sunken Temple? Or do I want to keep my deny just to deny the glorious evolution that may come? And we can see that all of the specific one-offs a Newman is playing, Black Shield, Falling Star, Sunburst Vigor, Mikael's Blessing, those are all reactive spells. And yeah, this may take Lunaya into a very hard time because she may get into a position where she just simply can't read the hand of Newman.
Yeah, we're gonna see how that gonna resolve in the game.
Well, and from being unreadable on a hand to getting the hand you always want, we go back. We go further with Zillion Echo as the second deck, and yeah,
Interesting
yes.
choice to go with Victor Aphelios, another PNZ deck, because it has a little bit different playstyle. I would say you have way more creatures, way less spells. You rely on the Echo Chrono Breaks and the rallies. So this is more like a combo deck at the end. But what I see the similarity is that both decks work well against all sort of aggro decks and the tempo decks. So I see some strategy in a Newman's approach.
Yeah, most definitely. And yeah, Stan, what is rounding up the lineup of Newman today?
So the final deck of Newman is classical discard aggro. which has one very surprising for me and interesting choice. Do you see it, Felix?
Yeah,
Do you see the 4-drop that Newman is playing?
yeah, the augmented clockling adding some consistency. I've seen Newman on this list actually, playing a few games, and what it does is, sometimes the opponent is just surviving barely on 1, 2, 3 HP, and the augmented clockling with the elusive that you really don't expect in discard aggro can sometimes just put in the less damage, not only by itself. But since you're able to search your deck, maybe for a blowback that we can see here, yeah, this adds a lot of potential to the deck. Of course, we are sacrificing early game power, but considering the amount of 1-drops and 2-drops, we have Vision, Jury Rig, a lot of discard synergies. Obviously, we're playing discard aggro. We do have the power in the early game, so we can sacrifice a slot for maybe one free of Legion Rearguard to play this Clockling and add more consistency, which is probably the one thing aggro is always lacking with.
I've seen this deck with either Crowd Favorite or the Experimenter, which both were more command choices. And I'm really curious how this version gonna work out. But as you said, Clockling always giving you more consistency. It will allow you to find the last piece of burn, or for example, Jinx from the top of your deck.
Yeah. So, luckily, sorry. Now we have seen all the decks, and yeah, obviously the two competitors have a very different approach to this meta. And my question to you, Stan, is: do you see any favorite here?
So, I will always stand by the control players and the control play style.
Of course.
You are probably not surprised with that. So I think Luna is on the driving seat, and I would like to be on her position in this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
But like the aggro decks have tendency to just high roll and win the games before the control player can actually start controlling the board.
Yeah, this is probably what makes the control decks so skillful. Being able to take the risks, being able to calculate what one can take and what one cannot take. And Stan, what do you think would be the best dance for this matchup here? Because if we can look at it again here, we have it on screen. Yeah, what do you think? I mean, we already have seen the band from Newman here being the Kindred Mordecai, so we could discuss about that. Why that happened, or hold on, I am getting confused. What the
I
actual band
think
is?
production is showing us that we should guess.
Yeah. We do have the bands now.
They are trying to trick us, but okay, if those are the bands, yeah, then we think both Ionia decks being played in a second on the Luna side.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with this bands. The Echo deck on the Newman side is having a lot of creatures. It's going very wide, and that's something that Luna probably want to avoid. But theoretically, we can say the same about the discard aggro, right?
Yeah, that is very true. I also like the Sicilian Echo ban here from Lunaya's side. Being able with the Ionia decks to, for example, deny the Glorious Evolution or, well, the expensive spells the Aphelios Victor is playing also through the invokes, and of course you have the tools. We've seen it to stall the game enough into the Draven Jinx, into the discard aggro to maintain alive. It's just barely alive, but it is enough because as long as you win, no matter how much HP you have. So yeah, I very much agree with the bans of the two players, and I am looking forward to now jump into the game after we had some tiny delay on that. The players are setting up for that right now, and yeah, I am really looking forward.
I would like to mention again that I totally agree with the Newman's ban on only SI deck. Like the SI is a very problematic type of deck for all the aggro stuff. So while he wasn't sure what Lunaya is going to ban, and having like two more aggressive style decks, banning SI totally makes sense. Probably because Lunaya, I assume, is playing some whales, some wildfish in this deck, and the Kindred is very good in controlling board. But we're heading to the game.
Yeah, we are heading to the game. It is loading as we speak. And there we are. There we are in our very first game of the knockout stage of the Aphrodite Alpha League Winter Dawn, and we see the. Hold on. What deck is that? Is that the ramp? Yeah, that is the ramp.
Yeah.
It seems to be Demacia, which is.
We see already a very good curve from Newman.
Yeah.
And Lunaya is after the Mulligan. She decided to just keep the 2-drop, the Troll Scavenger. And she's having one piece of a ramp, but she cannot play both. I guess the game is... Yeah, we are here, and Newman got additional discard fodder. So it looks like a perfect start for the Vietnamese player.
Indeed, we have a very beautiful curve coming ahead. Here we have the True Scavenger, which is a very supreme unit for this early game situations. But still, like, the curve is strong, the curve is big, and
yeah, as we see, like the troll already traded into one of those units, and I'm pretty sure it will be able to trade maybe even 2 times more. But probably not now, when we are seeing that Newman is having the vision. Is that the vision? Am I right? The
yeah,
3-mana
it,
spell. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
the
it.
3-mana spell is Vision, that gives one attack to all friendly units once discarded or played. And yeah.
Yeah, Luna is wondering now if
Yeah.
he's going to actually...
So if we have the information, maybe some of you were already wondering. Of course, Lunaya was not playing the correct deck here. She submitted the Ionia Trundle Volibear, but played the Demacia instead. We will redo the match and get back into it shortly. And yeah, there won't be any further penalty for Lunaya here at the time being. But yeah, as I said, we will just players will just re-choose their decks and get into the game again. And yeah, just 1 second. The bands need to just stay the same.
Yeah, I was so invested into the game that I didn't even notice that fact. The single combat was totally visible in a Lunaya hand. Yeah, those type of mistakes can happen. Obviously, when you have like a full collection of the decks, like when you have maximum of the decks for a different tournaments, you play different lineups. Yeah,
and
those
I also know Lunaya. Lunaya really likes to give her decks funny names and funny pictures. So sometimes, telling the decks apart may be a difficulty. I don't know if you have ever seen the library of Lunaya, but I get that
yeah,
it is quite messy.
seen somewhere. I also was. There was a period. Okay, let's go back to the game.
Let's go back into the game. We are now here, and we have now the correct ramp, the Ionia John de Volibear into Aphelios Victor.
But Newman
Now-
decided to swap a deck, so he's
Yeah.
starting with Victor Aphelios this time.
Yeah, which is okay. He has the right to do so, as he
Yeah, obviously.
submitted the correct decks. That is his right, following the rulebook. That is really made for every situation. Whoever wrote that is really thoughtful. Looking into the game, we see a very early game heavy hand from Newman, who is playing on the Aphrodite Esports account to avoid confusion. But generally, who do you think is favored in this very matchup?
Normally, I would say Naya is favorite. But this matchup can be tricky. Like, unluckily, Newman is not having any champion right now, but he's having a pretty aggressive start overall. But the champions are very important in the later stages of the game for the Newman.
Yes, that definitely holds true. And who of you thought that Aphelios Victor is a control deck? We see here 11 HP on Lunaya's side on turn 3. She is able to ramp for the very first time and has the faces of the old ones. I think, or what, I don't know what the 2-drop is called exactly. Has a sophisticated name. But Lunaya has the faces. Lunaya has another ramp spell in hand. Has the Trundle to stall. So there are the options to get through this early game. Question is,
Yeah,
she play it out correctly.
But as I said, it's a very aggressive start from the Newman, and like he will be way wider all the time than Runaya can ever be on this board. Runaya is playing 2 copies of Avalanche, which could be the very important card, but we don't see it right now in Runaya's hand.
Yeah, one other card, maybe more late game oriented, is It That Stairs, that could clean up the board very quickly. We see here now the development of Faces of the Old Ones. I got the name right earlier.
Yeah,
And-
Runaya managed to slow down the game a little bit by using the cap size. So Newman wasn't able to play like a cheap follower that turn, and now
That's
it's looking a little bit better for Luna.
Yeah, that's a nasty pass. And as I
Leaving it open.
as if I've predicted it, we have the It That Stairs here in the hand of Lunaya. And if we look at the board, it will clean up everything that is there. Of course, also the friendly units of Lunaya, but she's fine with that as long as she can keep control. And with a 8/8 beat stick, maintaining control of the board should be easy.
Yeah, and again, if any one of you was thinking that Victor Aphelios is a control deck, you could see that Newman decided to take 0 mana spell instead of 10 mana spell, which is not the most common choice for a control players.
Yeah, but I think this has a lot to do with the assessment of this matchup, of the game state itself. So you can't always think in static thoughts, mindsets. And in this specific scenario, Newman needs to rush the game down because on the long term, Lunaya will have the upper hand. So I definitely get that the number one priority for Newman here is to assert as much pressure as possible before Volibear hits the board, before It Dead Stairs hits the board, possibly on the next turn, before Singular Will decides the game. And yeah, therefore, I think Newman is doing everything right, forcing some trades here, putting Lunaya likely on 8 HP.
Yeah, from the big experience the Newman is having, he knows that the way how to play this matchup is to push some damage, and he's aware that he won't be ever able to outvalue the ramp deck. So the approach is like very good, and but we're still missing champions. We're still missing champions. The champions not anymore. Not anymore.
There's the victor.
There is a victor in a perfect moment because yeah, he was missing a little bit on creatures.
Mm.
And Lunaya is in a tough spot with the 7 mana.
Yes, 1 mana away from the crucial 8 mana benchmark, and due to
Also,
losing
not being-
phases, not being able to play It That Stairs in this turn, which opens up the opportunity for Newman to win this game by an open attack.
So she can basically play just one card. This card kills 2 followers, but yeah, she gonna face 3 creatures attacking next turn anyway, without
Yes.
any blocker, and just for now the one freeze to defend herself.
Yeah, that is correct. She has the freeze, but if she survives, remember she gets the expensive card from Heart of the Tree. The 8 or more.
Yeah, but I think.
But like that's a big if in
Don't
the
have the
scenario,
card.
right?
Oh.
Because Lunaya needs to survive this open attack, and it doesn't look good. Also, this top deck doesn't do a lot here for Lunaya, and Newman knows
Yeah,
that
I was wondering if they
everything-
ever recommit that, but it
Yeah.
makes sense
definitely.
in case of harsh winds.
Yeah. We see just the insane amount of experience Newman has, plays around everything, and safely secures the first win of the day in this matchup, and leads the series with 1-0 into Lunaya, who we consider to be the favorite in this matchup. And Newman will now be forced to play the Draven Jinx, which I think we can agree on is the significantly weaker deck into Lunaya's deck choices, and we will see now how this will turn out. And what a beautiful hand from Newman.
And in this matchup, like the Avalanche gonna be even more important for Lunaya.
Yes, this
And for
most
now,
definitely
she's not
is
having-
true. But look at this turn 1/5 damage already. Zaunite Urchin into Reborn Grenadier hits for 5, and this is just one solid start here from Newman.
Yeah, this is not the best matchup for Lunaya. Like only Avalanche is the only tool that can save this game.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen Lunaya keeping the concussive palm that we see here to like maintain some board.
Basically,
all
to
the game
save
a bit,
some health on the Nexus.
yes, but you're definitely right. Lunaya needs the Avalanche and probably capsize the Tavern Keeper that she already has in hand, maybe the Pioneer, with the healing to somehow go through this matchup, because it really doesn't look good.
Yeah, the issue of playing Tavern Keepers and Palm is that you are not ramping and you are not getting closer to your win cons. While Newman is very happy and he can probably already.
Look at this. This is
Yeah, we are
lethal,
looking
right?
at the lethal.
This is insane. Newman just demolishes Lunaya.
Obviously, we're gonna see harsh winds to survive this turn, but
Yeah, sorry,
Lunaya won't have
I
anything
missed that.
to like clear that board next turn. That's the
Exactly.
issue.
And while, yes, Lunaya survives here, she's out of defensive tools. Well, she, aside from the singular will that we might see.
I mean, we're definitely gonna see this card because otherwise,
Yeah, true.
we don't have a choice. But probably Newman will be able to recover from that just playing again most of the of those cards that we are seeing on the board right now.
Yeah.
Uh,
This is just a very impressive manner. And remember, those are the two rank ones from week one from the group stage who are facing each other. So these are at least supposed to be the top two contenders of the league. Of course, the triangle bracket also solves the problem of stacked groups. So, for example, if the 4 players of Group A are all better than the 4 players of Group B, the 4 players of Group A will qualify for the finals. But this, just on a side note, here we see the singular will, and Newman will most likely just redevelop the cheap units. Okay, never mind.
yeah, Runaya was
the Draven.
taking a while before playing the card. Maybe that's before because she was like trying to mind game a little bit. Maybe she was like trying to show that, hey, I have more options. I'm just looking which of those options is the best. But
Yeah.
in reality, she had like one option probably,
Yeah.
like the one real one to play this.
Yeah, so in this scenario, Newman can kind of pre-develop, since Lunaya hasn't hit the crucial 8 mana benchmark here to develop, for example, that stairs, which would clean up the board. The one of singular will is out. And
Yeah, that's a
Newman.
big issue of the control player. They have like two ramp spells in the hand, but they just cannot find a moment to use them because they need to defend themselves all the time, all over again.
Yeah.
And
Look
we see
at
the
this.
surrender.
Yeah, what an impressive domination here. Very well played from Newman. And this is the first match of the day here, and Newman will qualify for the finals of the Aphrodite Alpha League Winter Dawn. Congratulations to him. We are going to see him again next week. He can go to rest now after playing only one best of 3, and our upcoming game will be Lunaya versus Vendorti.
Yeah, Newman, big congratulations to him. Yeah, quick 2-0, and he's already in the semifinals. There is a tournament in the APAC server tomorrow, so he's probably going to rest a little bit. And that's like a good scenario for him.
Yeah, definitely. He can go with a lot of confidence into next week's game, and knowing that he could manage to get seed A for the finals, which isn't as important as the seeding for the triangle bracket. But here we are, and I think after a short break, we can move on to the next game of the knockout stage of the Aphrodite Alpha League. Lunaya versus Vendorti. Stay with us and see you soon.
See you.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Aphrodite Alpha League knockout stage. We just seen a dominating performance of Newman in the matchup against Lunaya. He won 2-0, while being unfavored matchup-wise against Lunaya, and yeah, made his path into the semifinals next week. We will see him again in the finals bracket in our upcoming game for the second spot in the upper bracket is Vendorti against Lunaya. Lunaya, because she lost her last game, has now the chance to qualify for this game, and Vendorti won his last game, and due to Roots to Triangle brackets, has now his chance to get into the finals. And then, what are the lineups that those two very skilled and experienced players are bringing for this matchup?
So we already seen the heavy control lineup that Lunaya brought. And what a surprise, Vendorti is also on a heavy control lineup.
Mm.
So that's gonna be something that I would love to see for Ionia lineup, for Ionia decks. Yeah, that's my dream. I would love both players to ban the Mordekaiser decks, so we can see the pure Ionia kill expression.
Yeah. Most definitely also because on the lowest screen we can see the current bracket. I just want to use this chance to explain the triangle bracket once more because it is an innovative thing that was never really used before. So we can see in game A2 where the two rank 2s, so many 2s, of the group stage played against each other. Vendorti could win this game, and this puts him now in the spot in game B1, which is just one game away from qualifying for the finals. Lunaya moved one step lower because she lost, and now has one more chance to qualify. She has basically 4 chances like this. This is her reward for scoring first place in the group stage. And if we, for example, look at the path that Kaizen took from game A3 after, scoring third place in his group, but winning both of his games so far 2-0, he is already waiting for the loser of this match. And while being third place in the group stage, which puts him at 5th place overall at best, he still has chances to get third seed for the finals, and this is the real strength of this triangle bracket. But sorry for nerding about it. I just wanted to point this out, and we can now look into the deck lists of Vendorti. Of course, we already talked about Lunaya. So we start with Anivia Mordekaiser, and Stan, what makes this version so different in the playstyle from the Bandle City decks that Mordekaiser is paired with in Kindred and Vex?
So this version is definitely more greedy because we have 6 ramp cards. So this is more like a ramp deck, to be honest, with all the SI tools to make the game longer, to defend yourself, to gain some health back. We don't see many creatures, just 9 copies, and obviously the synergy between Mordekaiser and Anivia, so we can get multiple Anivias on the board.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing too special about this list. I would say we have the standard set of 6 ramp spells and a lot of control, freezes, Boadir as a game finisher, and of course the Mordekaiser Anivia combo. Going ahead, we have another ramp deck, this time Trundle Volibear Ionia, which is one of the 2 possible mirror matches that we could face, and both of the mirror matches are Ionia. So you can lay back and rest assured. And yeah, Stan, in case we see the mirror match, what are the most crucial points that decide the mirror here in with the text?
I think I spotted some differences in those decks. Vendorti is playing one more Heart of 3 and one more Mina.
Yes, that
Especially
is
the second card is very important because Mina is like, in my opinion, the mirror decider in this scenario, because this unit changes the board state drastically when it comes to the board, because it's adding like one unit on the player side, and it's removing 3 enemy blockers. So it's
Yes.
like +4 basically on the board to the
Yes,
player that is playing that card, and that's a big tempo change.
yeah, I agree. This is definitely the game changer, and as you can see, the list of Vendoshi, the screenshot of the deck list is very compact. Because he plays a lot of 3-offs, opposed to Lunaya, who, for example, only plays 2 of the Volibear, 2 It That Stairs, 2 Mina Swiftwood, 2 Heart of the Tree. So we see a very solid and consistent list here from Vendorti, and I would say this should put him into the favor, even though he is not playing the Singular Will. But we will see how that turns out, and we can move on to the third and last deck of Vendorti, which is Victor Heimerdinger. Yeah, a deck that was undetected for a long time at the beginning of the patch, and then got discovered, and now is actually the deck with the highest play rate overall. And here we can see the Forge Chief I was talking about earlier. And Stan, what can you tell me about this deck, and especially what makes the mirror once again?
So again, we don't see the Glorious Evolution here.
Mhm.
But this card is not that important, since both decks are playing 2 of the Nice, which makes playing the Glorious very risky. From my experience, the factor that is deciding the mirror match is how many champions do you draw and how you can protect them. Champions are like very important, since like Heart of a Tree is not a real win con, with both players playing multiple landmark destruction like Aftershock or Piltover Telestones. So it's about the champions and the value you can get from them, and the lucky that you have getting the good keywords from the victor.
Yeah. And here in the two lists, there aren't too many differences. I think the only major difference is that Vendorti opts into the more early game oriented deck of Forge Chief, while Lunaya plays the Will of Ionia, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, and we will probably wait until they get in game. Do we have the bans already at this point? Maybe that could give us something to talk about. You already said you want the Mordekaiser decks to be banned because you like Ionia so much.
Yeah, but to be honest, if I look at at this like from more competitive point of view, not like what I like, what I do not. I think that Volibear is getting banned on both sides. Are you agree with me, Felix?
Yeah, I think the Volibear is like very crucial. And both might consider to ban it. And yeah, we see here Vendorti actually going for that, and we are now only waiting. And yeah, we are for now only waiting for Lunaya's ban. And so, I mean, we talked about the Volibear mirror. We talked about the Heimer Victor mirror, and yeah, well, we briefly talked about the differences between the Bandle City Mordekaiser and the Freyad Mordekaiser. But who do you think, Stan, has the upper hand in the matchup, and why?
I think that the slight advantage is on. Actually, it's hard to tell. if both players decide to ban the Volibear, then I feel it will be like a very close matchup overall, and I don't see like any advantage. It will be like a pure skill matchup. But I think like the Anivia is a little bit more greedy of a deck than the Kindred.
Yeah. Although greedy can be something good at times.
That's what I'm saying. In this, like in this scenario, having more greedy deck, or in this scenario and in general when you're playing a control lineups, having a greedy deck is something that you really want to have, and you are on a favorite position.
Okay, and we see the Mordekaiser ban actually. So the mirror we are looking forward to is the Victor Heimerdinger, which is the most equal of the mirrors, I would say. And I mean, considering the deck lists, we talked about it earlier. And that being said, we can hop onto the game. The players are onto it already, and we are looking forward to Game 2 of the knockout stage here in the Aphrodite Alpha League. And one of those players, Lunaya or Vendorti, will make it to the finals. One other will be facing ABG Kaizen in the upcoming round. And this first matchup is sadly not the mirror. It is Heimerdinger Victor against Volibear Trundle, but both on the Ionia version. Stan, who has the upper hand here?
Lunaya has almost a perfect hand for this matchup. Having both champions, one piece of a protection, and a deny. I really like the Lunaya's hand, and from this position, I think she is very favorite.
Yeah, I definitely agree. What a hand. We already talked about this earlier, that the champions are the crucial point in those long, stally matchups, and Lunaya has both of them, of course. Vendorti has the Trundle, Vendorti has the Boadir to get pressure on the board too, but I think the presence of Victor and Heimerdinger is just so much stronger. But we need to consider that there are like at least 3 more cards that are getting drawn by both players. But for now, Lunaya should be in a very good spot.
Yeah, having Heimer and Victor at the same time on the board means that you are getting a free challenger every turn that can just pull apart some blockers, so you can hit with the units that are already big enough to really deal significant damage. So with Victor and the bot. And the Victor is already having important keyword, which is Overwhelm.
Mm-hmm.
So it can even go through the smaller blockers.
Yeah, or you can recall the blocker and go for a big hit. And yeah, here comes the Heimerdinger. And as we look into Vendorti's hand, he doesn't really have any response. He has the Avalanche for turrets, maybe. He has the It That Stares and the Volibear for some board clearing, but those need at least 2 more turns to hit the board. 3 in the case of the Volibear.
And
Spell Shield on Victor. Crazy.
Yeah, that's also big. Vendorti is missing one more ramp card, so he can play it now and go to 8 mana next turn and start doing his stuff with playing a big creatures or like clearing a board with It That Stares. But that's not going to happen.
Yeah, and with the last turret here, Victor will flip and this takes him to 5 HP. And now the Victor can even survive a blocking Trundle, although I am pretty sure that we always pull the Trundle if the Avalanche doesn't come, of course.
Oh, that's insane. So Luna is removing on the stack another blocker.
Yeah. Getting also another turret. The Heimerdinger is on... Hold on.
We're gonna see open attack, full attack. Is it a potential lethal? No, we are 2 off. But Vendorti...
Yeah, Vendorti analyzes the situation perfectly.
It was 2 off,
perfect hand. It was a perfect hand, wasn't it? Lunaya...
with this hand... Yeah, perfect one.
Yeah, yeah, just drew what she had to draw. And Vendorti, on the other hand, had a pretty poor hand, I must say. And sometimes this really makes the difference, and therefore we play a lot of games to make sure that skill really makes the difference in the long
Yeah,
run.
one thing is saying that it was a perfect hand, but it was also a perfect mulligan from Lunaya when she kept exactly those cards what
Yeah,
she
true.
needed and just giving away the cards that weren't necessary to win this matchup.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with you there. Lunaya correctly assessed the matchup, of course, and then got what she needed. And now Vendorti wants to take the match point from Lunaya and set up for a game 3, and he does that by replaying his Ionia deck, his Trundle Volibear Ionia deck, and Lunaya is only left with Kindred Mordekaiser, the Bandle City version. And what can we expect here?
Again, Lunaya is having both champions in the hand, but in this specific matchup, they are not that important. Not like the champions in the previous match,
Mhm.
and they are way slower if you think about that. So Vendorti is not in that rush. He will have more time to ramp to mana 8, mana 9. And I think this is way easier matchup for Vendorti overall.
Yeah, well, this is true. You need to keep the cards that you want to play, and we already see two aloof travelers in the hand of Lunaya and the Mordekaiser to print them to revive them and activate their summon effect once more. So the hand of Endorti could lose on some huge value. Lunaya decides to here develop the Kindred.
Yeah, and especially as you said about Aloofs, that's a very important card in this matchup. And if you think about this, if you time playing them like really well, and if you are lucky enough or aware of the opponent hand, you can enable Trander from leveling, discarding the pillar. And if Trander is not leveled, he is not that a big of a threat. It's just 4/6 unit.
Yeah, and beautiful. The hate spike here. Yeah, I just really like it. And one thing I want to point out for this specific matchup here, since Vendorti doesn't have any way of interacting with like opponent's units, or like he has the recalls with Unworthy Soul as a fast speed option, but aside from that, he can't interact, and Lunaya can therefore safely, for example, Vile Feast her own Pioneer or Glimpse Beyond proactively, and triggered Kindred with that, and I think we will see something like that. Here, the Hate Spike, very, very beautiful how that fits here. Kills not only the Explorer, but also the ramp card. And now, when Dorothy stays on 7 mana, doesn't get to the 8 mana benchmark, and is
Vendorti
vulnerable to an open attack.
is having two landmarks in a hand, but he's also aware that both of them dies to the landmark removal that Luna picked from the 2 mana Explorer unit. And yeah, at this point it looks that his hand is a little bit cranky.
Yeah, once again, quite unlucky. And the second aloof hits the board. Next turn, the Mordekaiser can go for some really big value. And I think we are in a spot where we can just pass here, because Vendorchi doesn't play the singular will, right? So we can pass and next turn remove all the value from Vendorchi's hand.
Yeah, but Lunaya wants to be proactive, and it seems that she already have a read that Vendorti is not having um any bounce spell, so no Will of Ionia, no like any other recall.
Yeah.
That means the Thunder is dying right now, or at the end of this round, basically.
Which clips the Kindred.
Now it allows. It doesn't matter because the Thunder is dying anyways.
Yeah.
But now Lunaya is without the board if Vendorti decides to play it that stairs, and that's probably what's gonna happen here.
Yes. And we see that that's theirs.
We can protect Kindred.
There's a world where Luna protects the Kindred with a proactive Vile Feast.
Did also mark the 8 drop.
Yes.
Beautifully.
So the spider should die. This is just a visual mistake. We take 8 from the attack, or I mean, oh no, it's Lunaya's turn, so we can play Conch or something else.
Oh, it's Vendorti is having attack, right? But
yeah, I mean turn move playing.
Yeah, the move. Yeah, but we are probably still taking this 8, anyways. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Developing more and more units. The Owlcat, a very sweet target generally, because if you target it with your Glimpse Beyond, for example, your opponent has a hard time to react to it.
We are threatening 13 damage on the open here.
True.
So, do we grit and go for a lethal, or we just open? That's the question that Lunaya has to ask herself. And
I think in this spot we go for the damage. That's my personal opinion. I mean, we have Caster Vision, we see the Volibear that would threat that. And Lunaya shares my opinion and gets out the harsh winds, which are probably followed up by an avalanche. There we are, and I mean, there's a world where we protect the Kindred with the spell, but I think we just want to replay her.
We can do it, but we can just replay the Kindred. But it's
Yes.
probably Mordekaiser's turn, I think. We will see.
We will see. But
no,
I mean,
we're not decided.
the point is that maybe we want to save the Mordekaiser in the combination with the Kindred to kill whatever is coming from the opponent, and be it only the Ice Pillar. Because we want to win with an open attack in 2 turns. That is Lunaya's game plan, because everything that goes later is at a really high risk. So I really share the view here to develop the champions, take it slow, develop big on the next turn, remove blockers, and then decide the game.
I agree with you, because as far as Lunaya is ahead on the board, she can be just proactive, and she doesn't have to do anything like which is proactive, just being reactive, just waiting what opponent is showing. We'll see if she decides to pass at this spot, because she's threatening open attack lethal next turn, which with a caster vision we see that gonna be a lethal for now, but obviously Vendorti has already another. Yeah, this seems a little bit risky to the singular wheel.
Yeah, there keeps the Volibear.
Okay.
Pretty lucky hits for Lunaya, I must say.
Yeah, the Kindred stays untouched, which is probably the most important information for Luna at this moment. Vendorti might be a little bit unhappy with the outcome of this Volibear play. But he will still probably attack with a Volibear in a second.
And here Lunaya goes for, or at least hovers the Glimpse Beyond, now plays it through. would say I disagree with the take, because alternatively we could just develop, but since the Mordekaiser revives the unit, I think it's fine, because yeah, we can
We still can play one more.
yeah,
unit
we
this
we,
turn.
we can play the Fae, whose name I forgot at this point, and yeah, the Ice Pillar will die, as I said in the previous turn. This is probably the result of the Kindred being on board. We are removing one blocker, and the Volibear alone won't do much. We have to
But
sacrifice.
It will take at least one of the attackers. But again, Luna will be able to pull the Volibear apart with a Mordekaiser and threaten a Ritter with other units. We're seeing 7, 9, 11 damage if she decides to open attack, which won't be Ritter with this top deck of Vendorti. That's a very good top deck for this state, but if Luna decides to go wider and develop a little bit this turn, there is not that much that I can punish her from the Vendorti. Obviously, she doesn't know that at this moment. It's just a caster vision we have.
Yes.
But yeah, there is not much of a punishment for developing.
Yeah, and from how Vindorti played earlier, we already mentioned this. Lunaya got the read that Vindorti is very low on interaction, and I could see here from Vindorti developing the Heart of the Tree if Lunaya decides to develop further. And
Vendorti is aware of this runner distraction from the beginning of the game, so I don't think he will decide to do this move. Yeah, I think he just is going for 2 blockers. That's the best he can do. Or a blocker plus a recall. But that's not anything that gonna change the outcome of this game. I think Lunaya should be able to push Ritter this turn.
yes, I agree. The question is, how does she do it? Obviously, Lunaya wants to take her time to find the correct line here and harvest the Wallop on Volibear, removing it as a potential blocker. And I think this is the correct play in this scenario. Vindorti already gives the GG. And
yeah, from the games we are seeing today, the RAM decks are not having the best time.
that's
I think
true.
the most game, probably not all, but like most of the games we've seen were lost by this deck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true. Here, Lunaya goes for killing her own unit, which at first might seem a bit weird, but it is probably because the Kindred gets the buff to 9 attack through this, and she can develop the Legion of the Severed from her hand afterwards. So I think this is where this play is coming from. Just making sure that we have the most optimal attack possible. We see here now the Unworthy Soul. But now it just turns out exactly as I said.
So Vendorti has no more moves this turn.
Exactly. We played the Legion of the Severed. And full swing,
and it's exactly lethal.
And that's exactly lethal. There's no way for Vendorti to come back, and here, after, we must say, after a huge loss of morals of Lunaya at the start of this match, Lunaya can take it 2-0 and secured her place in the finals. And this is very great. After losing 2-0 to Newman, now she gets her revenge, and in the upcoming game, we will see Vendorti taking on ABG Kaizen. Remember, Kaizen only scoring third place, so now at the match point to go into the finals. And I just want to mention at this point that both first placers from group stage now qualified successfully for the final bracket. And yeah, we can see that very beautifully here. Once again, as an explanation, because I just love to explain the triangle bracket, Lunaya won her game and therefore moves one spot to the right, which puts her in the green final spot. Vendorti lost his game and goes one below, where ABG Kaizen is waiting for him. While we still wait for the result of what 100 versus ABH buff Nightfall. This is the situation we are in right now, and I just want to reflect once more on what you said about the ramp deck. It really seems like ramp is struggling, but why exactly is that?
I think it is about the meta. The ramp decks gained so much popularity because there was Mordekaiser, Kindred in the meta, if I remember correctly, or
yes,
in general the Mordekaiser decks. So you kind of wanted to play a little bit more greedy deck to punish the strategy and have recourse for the Mordekaiser. But then the meta shifted a little bit. Right now we have pretty much diverse meta, but we have a lot of more aggressive decks like Lurk, like Lulu Z, which is very popular, also Draven Jinx. So those decks are gaining popularity, and because of that, the ramp deck is struggling a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I think the point of ramp really is that it is just a relic from the old meta that people still stick to. And now gets played and struggles. And before we go into the break, I want to point out one thing about the upcoming lineup, because we've seen Vendorti on very, very much stall. The Lunaya versus Vendorti matchup was free control versus free control decks, and now we see ABG Kaizen on free aggro decks, and this means either we will have very short series or a very long one, and I'm looking forward to this. So stay with me, get a coffee, and we'll be right back after the break. to the third game of the Aphrodite Alpha League knockout stage. Am I live? I am live. Wonderful. So yeah, once again, hello everyone. Welcome back. I'm glad you're still here. It is my utmost pleasure to welcome you to the third round of today's bracket, the knockout stage of the Aphrodite Alpha League Winter Dawn. We are seeing the matchup between Vendorti and Kaizen after Vendorti had to take a 2-0 loss in the most recent game against Lunaya. He is competing now against Kaizen for a spot in the finals of the Aphrodite Alpha League. And Stan, we already talked about it. Those two lineups that they are bringing are quite polarizing.
Oh yeah, the lineups that they are having is basically two different things. Like we have on the one side totally control lineup, and on the other side we have super aggressive lineup. Probably the most aggressive lineup you can make right now in the current meta. That you are maybe you can play like Jinx Lulu, but then you cannot play Zed Lulu. So I think that's the most aggressive lineup you can think about right now. So we can finally see if the aggro strategy is superior or it's the control lineup that's gonna win the BO3.
Yeah, I mean, usually we associate control with the competitive, high skill gameplay. But as we can see, ABG Kaizen won both of his matches 2-0 and is now ready to win his third match of the day and go into the finals with these three decks. And Stan, during the break, we talked about it. Those three decks are probably the most aggressive decks one could bring currently and still be viable, with Zed Lulu putting up so much early game pressure with the cheap support synergies, as well as Demacia being Demacia. Lurk with the high attacks that you can have on those early turns, and Javen Jinx being Javen Jinx. Maybe we can take a closer look onto the exact lists, and then we can elaborate a bit further about what I mean. So, Stan, what exactly makes Zed Lulu so oppressive in the early game?
So obviously this is the Ionia part of this deck, which makes it superior. We see both champions being Ionian champions. We have a great control tool like Deny. No, but being serious now, yeah, this deck plays around the champions, and it has quite a lot of tools to protect them. So this is like some sort of a support strategy when you buff the other units, when you use like the powerful small creatures, followers that are buffing the another ones or your champions, and obviously the set of 4 rallies that helps you with closing the games. I'm seeing here one interesting choice from Kaizen, which is one copy of Royal Decree card. Do you know, Felix, what the card is doing even? Because that's not a command.
I think it grants Scout to the next unit you play, which has a very high synergy with the Z. That is basically not only one unit that attacks, so you grant Scout to 2 units. But my explanation could be completely stupid if I confuse the card. So please tell me what the card is doing.
I think that would happen because the card is actually giving one of the units. Well, I'm also not sure, but I think the card
I looked
one
up.
of the units.
Three mana focus, give an ally +2/+2 and challenger on focus speed this round, or summon an Honored Lord, and the Honored Lord is the unit that gets a barrier the first time it challenges something.
Yeah, so I assume the first option is like the choice for most of the situation, because the Lord has only synergy with a Lulu spell, with the 1 mana spell that you're getting when Lulu is on the second like when she's leveled, right? Because
Yeah.
I don't see any other possibility when the Honored Lord can challenge anything, because the unit does not have a challenger on its own, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to basically to put vulnerable on something and then challenge it with the Lord.
Yeah. Moving on, we have the Lurk deck. Very standard. We see the One Afraid of Negation, which is a very smart tech, I would say. Other than that, standard Lurk. Lurk doesn't really have room for teching, so it is just the standard Lurk list.
3 copies of a rally is a little bit more than I would be expecting from this deck.
Is
I'm
it?
seeing 2 of in the most.
Yeah.
But I guess this is like more. You want to be more aggressive, basically. You want to end the games faster.
Yeah. And to close out the aggressive lineup, we have the Draven Jinx, a more standard Piltover-based variant than what we saw from Newman earlier this day. But also there's not much to say. Of course, we have to put the focus on the big high roll potential that this deck has in certain hands. Other than that, it is just discard aggro. And what we can conclude from these 3 decks, Kaizen puts the focus on having high pressure, high tempo games today, while Vendorti, if we remember back his lineup consisting of Nivea Mordekaiser, Trundle Volibear, and Victor Heimerdinger, it is 2 ends of a spectrum that are facing each other here. And in Stan, if you were to ban for those 2 players, what would you ban?
I think the ban from the Kaizen is either Heimer Victor or a side deck. I don't remember how many ways the side deck is playing, but I think I like banning the Heimer because it's having like the most amount of the spells that can remove. So basically mystics, aftershocks, and they can remove pretty effective the aggro units. And I think Vendorti should ban the Luruzet. Honestly, because the deck has ability to buff their units over the avalanche range. And if Vendorti is assuming the Hammer is getting banned, then the avalanche is the card that he's probably having in both of his decks, if I'm not mistaken.
He actually doesn't play Avalanche in Anivia, but he plays 2 Rivering Whale, because you were asking earlier, and he plays 2 Avalanche in Trundle Volibear. Also, maybe what is very important are 2 Rocket Barrages and 3 Aftershock in the Victor Heimerdinger list. So those are his main points of efficient removal, and I definitely agree with you here. The ban should be on the on that. But let's look into the game, because it is starting, if I'm not mistaken. I was confused by double vision there, so yeah, we can jump onto the game, and once we have it on the screen, we can see that Eisen indeed did not opt into banning the Nivea Mordekaiser, since the majority is playing it right now. Please have 1 second of patience. There we are. And Kaizen gets to play his Draven Jinx. And as always, Stan, how is this matchup going?
So this matchup relies on AoE that Vendorti can find potentially. So as you said, he's playing Withering Whale. Obviously, Wild Fist is a great defensive tool to heal a little bit to get another blocker to remove
Yeah.
opponent's blocker. But we again see like a very explosive start from Kaizen.
I would argue that you proactively Wild Feast here because yeah, you probably want to block the Draven here with the Spider Link, so instead of passing, maybe an alternative line could have been to play the Wild Feast a bit earlier. But maybe even Doherty has his reasons for those decisions.
It's not that important because that spider won't be able to block efficiently, but it will deal 1 damage to a unit, which might matter.
I just want to say that I really loved the pass from Vendorti here. I think this was even though he is at a mana deficit with the pass, it is the right play because he is the slower deck. Telling Kaizen to do something that he can react to, not giving up too much information about his hand, and therefore having more options in this turn. But he is already on half-life.
And he
Decides to
Vengeance.
yeah, probably Vengeance here on the Draven. And yeah. I mean, of course, the control player will always be in a tough spot at the start. It is really about once you are on those 1, 2, 3 HP, when you start winning, and funnily enough, Vendorti finds himself now at 3 HP, and yeah, now he should slowly find a way back into the game. He will now go
is like a very dangerous zone because
for the Pioneer, goes for the healing. This plays around the Jinx, of course. I think that's also what you meant. 3 HP is the Rocket. Maybe you remember back when when it was on 4 damage on the Nexus.
yeah, but ABG Kaizen will be able to go 3 white on the open. But obviously he is not going to open because like Vendorti is not having enough Ruination mana this turn.
Yeah,
And
there
we
comes
see
the
the
GG.
emote. There is not much with a 5 mana that Vendorti can do.
Yes. Kaizen shows us what probably led to the swift victories in the last matches, winning this in just a few minutes, taking the victory with the Draven Jinx, and so only 1 win with Lurk against either Trundle, Volibear, or Nivea Mordekaiser is separating Kaizen from the glorious final bracket of the Aphrodite Alpha League, and we see here that his matchup, the match point for ABG Kaizen, will be Lurk against Nivea Mordekaiser, and I think the chances for Vendorti are a tiny bit better here now.
I'm not sure seeing this hand from Kaizen.
Yeah,
He's
well,
having the hand that every Lurk player would like to have, and on the top of that, he's having attack token on 1. Maybe he's missing the how it's called, the 2-drop that can like just attack without using the attack token.
Snapshot Swarm.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I mean, if you would have predicted into that, that would have been
Yeah,
a
either
quite
into
swift
that
victory.
or into Rek'Sai, right? That
Yeah.
would be a sweet predict as well.
But no, yeah, the vulnerable here from the Hammer Snout, very good, because normally you would have the Forsaken Bakai hitting over and over again and try to trade with the actual Lurk units, but like this, Kaizen can force a trade and yeah, gets Vendorti on 14 HP on this turn 3. Really not a spot Vendorti wants to find himself in,
And again-
especially with the hand.
And again, we don't see any AoE spell from the Vendorti hand. Those spells are like crucial in those aggro matchups.
Exactly.
And he's missing them again. And we see Pike on the top from Kaizen.
Yeah, the only thing we really have here is the Death's Grasp, which allows for some more efficient blocking. Of course, the Pike spell here is a threat and could could deny this play really good, and this is probably the only line Kaizen can take here realistically, saving all of his units, going for more damage, leaving Vendorti on only 5 HP. This is a really, really fast game, like I said before. Kaizen has one goal in mind, being the final stages. Here comes the Ruination, but it is a second Pike spell for Kaizen.
Yeah, the second Pike spell, but since we don't have any units, so Kaizen was hoping to get like a little bit cheap of units. He's having pretty heavy hand right now.
Yeah. I mean, there's always a word where you develop your hammer snout. And this would be lethal in open attack, of course, if we're not considering the Vengeance. But getting a Vengeance on a 2-drop is a trade most people are pretty willing to make. Here comes the Mordekaiser's development, when Dorji recognizing that only stalling the game won't get him very far and that he needs to take risks here.
Not that yet, unless it's Rek'Sai Metal. It's not.
Rek'Sai, it is 1 HP, and we earlier talked about 3 blood in the water on the side of Kaizen, and this one. Yeah, the ping damage already is lethal here, and not to talk about the rally itself either. Also, Xerxa Ref, I think, is going to get, could get Spell Shield on the next attack. So, yeah, it is really, really cooling situation here for Vendorti.
Yeah, devs probably had a lot of fun naming the Lurk units.
Yeah, definitely. Here we see the surrender, and what a fast game was that. 2-0 from Kaizen, and I think if I remember correctly, this is his third 2-0 today.
Yeah,
very
amazing.
strong.
Amazing.
From being rank 3 in groups, now making 3rd seed, basically making double value of his position of the groups. No, this is a bit very theoretical. But yeah, 6-0 today, and Kaizen might have figured out a very, very strong lineup in this meta. He played into various different lineups. Maybe if you can take a look at it, his opponent and the lineups really quick. Kaizen played against VOD 100, who played Kane, Aatrox, Nocturne Vex, and Kindred Morgana. Then he won the game against Cirque, who played Nila Ezreal, Rek'Sai Pike, Morgana Aatrox, and now against Vendorti with 3 control decks. So his fast-paced deck, fast-paced lineup even, really made it onto a various amount of very different lineups. So my question to you, naturally, Stan, would be, how do we beat this lineup?
There is no need. We are close to the new rotation. We can just wait a little bit. That's my take.
Okay.
Like, I'm very sad what is happening with the meta right now.
Yeah.
But as answering you, I feel like the meta made a circle and we are in the spot when we began. So I think SI might be the answer. Like bringing a good SI anti-aggro lineup. Like definitely you can make a lineup with SI that beats Draven Jinx. Or maybe playing like some Echo decks that historically are good against Draven Jinx. Yeah. I think that might be an answer. Also, it looks like Aphelios Victor should be a solid deck into this lineup. There are some possibilities, definitely.
Definitely, yeah. And Kaizen now finds himself as the third competitor in the finals of the Aphrodite Alpha League Winter Dawn season. When Dorothy now in the corner of the triangle bracket, the probably most decisive and highest tension match of this entire bracket, because the winner goes to the finals. The loser, although, has to face the danger of elimination in the upcoming week. We are still waiting for the result of Cirque into VOD 100, and maybe we can look into this game. I'm not entirely sure, but
If they are still playing, like,
yeah, if
there
they're
is
still playing, we
possibility that
be
we
able
can
to look into it.
catch that
And
game.
that's how much I am aware they are still playing. And one thing we sadly didn't get to talk about yet was the very interesting choice from VOD 100 of Kindred Morgana Demacia. And he's playing that deck right now. So maybe if we can switch to that with the cast division taking the point of Cirque, exactly like this. And here we are. It seems like a pretty late game-ish situation between Kindred Morgana and Aatrox Morgana.
Yeah, that's true. We are definitely in a late game, but both players are pretty healthy. We can see like 17 and 18 health.
Yeah, we can actually assume that this is still game one, which is kind of funny, considering that Kaizen already finished his series, his entire run actually, and we are still here seeing Cirque and VOD 100 in their first game. But there's of course nothing wrong with taking things slow, and I am excited to see the Kindred Morgana because, to be honest, I have never seen it before.
It's totally understandable that those players are taking their time and thinking about every decision, because this is actually the last chance for them. It's like the game that if one of them gonna lose, he's going down to the elimination bracket, and he has no more chances.
And
Or am I mistaken?
look at the spell chain. Look at the spell chain.
Whoa, wow.
This is huge. This is game deciding.
Ooh.
I would say. I mean, maybe there's a top deck, but I mean, we didn't give it the credit. Well, we talked about the bracket formation, but this is one very big chain here reaction with the Death's Grasp. Anaka always able to
from VOD. That's a great top deck, but we're gonna see what Anaka can pull.
Yeah, Anaka also being able to pull another Anaka. Oh, Stirato. Stirato
That's big.
drawing. Form up and Gentleman's Duel, two cards that allow for a lot of in-combat interaction.
Yeah, the game is definitely not over, especially that VOD is
so
not
crazy.
able to kill anything. It's not able to slay anything, so the Kindred trigger is the Kindred effect is not triggered.
Yeah, right.
Especially
And
that she's
here we may see that Cirque tries to shoot the Kindred with the Gentleman's Duel form up.
oh yeah.
There is a bit of a risk to that because if VOD has Death's Grasp, for example, or Glimpse Beyond, he can just buff the Kindred up. But that isn't the case, and what a game actually! This is such a banger. Like, and we are so late game, but both players are pretty healthy, and I think we are looking forward to a great game. Here now it's the Aatrox spell being threatened in Cirque's hand.
We can see also the top deck of both Morganas from both players. I'm just wondering which one is closer to being leveled up, or maybe even at this stage, maybe both are leveled up already.
Morgana is leveled for both players.
Yeah, that makes sense at this stage of the game.
I mean, and VOD plays the SI package with Death's Grasp, Hate Spike, etc. And Cirque plays the equipment. So both decks are really good at flipping Morgana fast, which is probably the reason why VOD chose Kindred as a partner to Morgana, or Morgana as a partner to Kindred, because of the obvious synergies you have there. The Ruination again turning the game around, and this is such an impressive game.
Yeah, but Vat has a unit that is not going to die ever. So yeah, we will see. Like at this point, there was a moment like Cirque looked very good with his board state, but now if I'm looking at that, I would say that Vat is favorite. But everything can change in a second. Like one good
Exactly.
top deck, one good dark in top deck, like another Aatrox maybe.
Yeah, I really miss those games, especially in the Lunaya versus Vendorti. I was hoping for those decisive late games where those tiny decisions make the difference, those tiny top decks. And now we are here at this point. Both Morganas will most likely hit the board now. An alternative for Vat would be the Vengeance. Now, it is, but yeah, like these turns are making so much. And Vat making it himself a very tough decision for obvious reasons. Now,
Yeah, I'm not so surprised anymore if all the games those players played were so close because this game is way more closer than most of the game we've seen before. Like those games we've
probably,
seen before were kind of one-sided, if I can say like that. I mean, not all of them,
yeah.
but
I mean,
they
all
were
games,
pretty fast, right? And like,
yes, all games we saw today were 2-0s, but you have to consider that Zurich had every game that he played on a 2-1 so far, and Vat has one 2-0 and one 2-1. So you analyze correctly. The entire lineups are probably pretty close, and also both of them really don't want to make a mistake at this point because losing this match means facing the danger of elimination in the next week. And we see here the Vengeance very luring in the hand of Vat. Of course, he wants to attack first, maybe even kill the Undying with the Spirit Leech to get even more value after the attack.
yeah, this game is not ending very soon because we can see that both players have ability to heal a little bit,
Yes.
either
And
with Morgana or like with Aatrox.
yeah, next turn we are most likely going to see the Aatrox spell. It is quite embarrassing. I forgot the name of it.
Ward Ender, right?
Yeah,
That's
the
a word.
world. True,
Yeah.
the world ender, of course. The world ender, bringing Aatrox back to the board since it is equipped to Tarosh. Names.
Yeah.
But I'm to be honest, I'm proud that I remembered the lurk names, kind of.
Yeah, I'm not even trying. I'm not. I'm not even trying. But yeah,
Yeah.
the difference we can see between those two decks is that the side deck has way more draw cards, and Vat is getting some advantage on the number of cards in the hand. But actually, now we have the similar, like the same amount of cards.
Here, Cirque opts onto playing another Tarosh. In theory, this can get him to. No, this can't. We lose
Yeah,
the Kusnev.
Undying is big enough to take out Morgana. That's
Yeah, I
not
mean,
something you see.
Tarosh can take out Morgana in return, and Vat sees that, instantly kills the Tarosh, and now the game really took a turn because, yeah, like, Zerg is in a very awkward position here.
I'm just counting if Sir can survive next turn. He's on 15, but the only unit won't be able to block because
Yeah, and
Morgana is shackling it. So it's
yeah,
10, 14,
this is
it's
16
16.
damage. 16 damage plus 2 from Morgana. This is
Yeah,
just
so
a
this is
simple open attack.
over.
This is over.
Game.
I mean, yeah, I mean, Watt slowly built it up, but if we think of like 5 minutes ago, the game was completely open, shifting front to back. Um, first we thought Watt was going to take it. Then we had Cirque getting the grasp of the game back, and now Watt through simple small advantages building up to this victory. And I assume this was the first game, considering the timer. But
Yeah,
we
we can't
can't
know exactly which game
we
was
can't
that.
know. What we know for sure is that the second game is right ahead, and after having a Morgana mirror, now we have a Aatrox mirror with Watt bringing his Kane Aatrox and Cirque replaying Aatrox Morgana. And this is a matchup that we've seen actually quite a lot. But when Aatrox came out, I believe.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
true. That's true. That was like probably one of the most popular matchups. Two decks
and
that are using the Aatrox and basically the
yeah.
two most popular Aatrox decks.
Yeah, I mean, we of course have the Vayne variation in the Demacia, but I think over time, the Morgana, just because it is Morgana, it's such a efficient unit, took turn. Sadly, we don't have the Aatrox Vayne constructor himself here on the caster desk. I think that would have been a nice elaboration. But yeah, let's look into the game. Let's look at the hands, and can we see a favorite for this game already?
Historically, in this matchup, the favorite was the Demacia Aatrox deck. But I've seen like different opinions on that. Like people are not on the same page with that, and I cannot say with being 100% sure which deck is favorite. But
I think
the matchup is very skillful for sure.
yes, that's what I was just supposed to say, about to say. I think this matchup really relies on having the edge, not like in the matchup understanding the various different game states that this matchup can get you into, and of course, what you draw, starting hands, mulligan, are very important. We see here now. Ranger Knight Defector equipped with the quick attack weapon on Scout. That really hurts. Zerg here tries with the sharp side to get the value trait, but Watt replies with momentous choice, turning this into an 8 attack unit that is about to attack another time.
Oh, that
And
seems so scary.
that is very scary. And I think the only option for Zerg is here to sacrifice the Explorer. There is a world where we also just throw in the Badger Beer to maintain the Challenger. But this is just so scary. Watt builds up a huge board here, and yeah, shows that he is determined to take his path to finals.
Yeah, it looks very favorite for Watt. Also, since
Definitely.
we had no opportunity to go through those deck lists of Watt, I would like to mention one card that he's playing and which is very important in this matchup. It's 11 mana card named Utter Devastation, and
Oh
this
yeah.
card is like a one-sided ruination in this scenario because it keeps alive all your Darkin units and all your equipped units, and it kills all the other units on both sides.
Yes.
So this is the mirror deciding card. If we were talking about which side is favorite,
Yeah, I mean it's a one-off, so obviously Watt has to draw it, but Watt already is in a very nice spot. Cirque developed here the Morgana, probably the most efficient unit overall in the game. Labeled as very unbalanced and unfair more often than I can count. But for obvious reasons, of course, Morgana just being so flexible. We can see here.
Yeah, but
taking
Morgana
his
on its
time.
own doesn't look to be enough to defend from this 6-3.
Quick attack scout, tough
Yeah,
unit.
exactly. Yeah.
That is indeed true. I would say we should try to offer the trade here. Of course, we are risking the another momentous choice, for example, but or a fierce wielder. But I think we just have to go for it. Cirque has only this one option to attack now, because if he, I mean, in my opinion, if Cirque wants to block this, he just gives that one more card basically to maybe get what he needs. And in Cirque's position, he has to take risks. And I think you need the extra HP and therefore the healing. And in my opinion, he should have attacked.
I totally agree with you. Blocking with this Morgana would be way more riskier than just attacking with her, right?
Yes.
And because attacking at least provides you this free healing on a tough unit, and that's the scenario where you are not healing at all.
Yeah. And that hurts because now you have to sacrifice them again, actually. Or no, you don't have to in this spot, but of course that will re-equip his Ranger Knight Defector, and
He's probably going to equip both units, so both are
yeah,
threatening a lethal. So both has to be blocked.
that is the case. Of course, the best play spotted here by Watt. For now, Cirque will survive in this game state, but the Ranger Knight Defector doing so much work. It is a shame that it's not a champion on its own, because it is just such a good card, really.
In many scenarios, it's like way better than any champion can be in this spot.
Yeah, now we see here the Anaka. Anaka known for being able to put some upsets, because you could draw into one more Anaka, into Stirato, for example, and Cirque will now reveal what he will get. He will get Horazi, which is, of course, a good top deck. Not most optimal, but it is a unit, it is a beatstick to work with. But 6 HP really.
Yeah, but
are
now
not
with
a lot.
2 beefy unit, with the interaction, having the strike spell, Gentleman's Duel, maybe Sir can somehow survive?
Maybe, yeah. Well, let's look into it. You have to safety block that, please. Thank you. Yeah. Now, Sir, considering how exactly he should order the blocks, probably playing around another copy of the Unforgiving Cold. Also, we have to consider Expanse's Protection, which is the spell shield. Spell of the Weapon Master. Is it Weapon Master? No, it's Cultist. My bad.
Yeah.
Of the Cultist archetype. And I mean, on itself, you are definitely right here. I must give you that. Anaka and Horazi, a potential Atrox this turn combined with Horazi, that seems juicy, but of course we have to sacrifice at least one unit into the attacking Strata from Vat here.
It's getting more and more interesting because the Kane on the VAT side is not doing too much work, honestly. But now, with Silk not having more mana, I think.
We see the Kane spell, right? We see the Kane spell here
Yeah.
in hand. It doesn't but it doesn't do too much, because you can only target the Kane. And
But you can equip the Kane with the +2/+0 equipment, right? So you don't need to.
Yes, but then you can't play the Kane spell anymore. But you can.
Yeah, but the Kane spell is
You can't force the
at this
trade.
point.
You can force the trade with Horazi. That could be a play. Probably the only one you have really with this Kane. Alternatively, we also see the momentous choice. So we could go for actually trading with the Aatrox or the Anaka. probably Anaka, because of just of the high roll potential it offers.
Yeah, we can also just get rid of the Anaka. That's true.
Yeah. And that's most likely what we're going to see here. Of course, what pre-committing the attack before playing the burst spell. There's the common order you would do those things in, and
But by
yeah.
but by pulling the 8/4, you can force opponent to block either with Aphelios or Anaka, which is also
You mean
not.
Aatrox?
No, if you pull like the spell shielded unit.
Yeah. I just you just said Aphelios instead of Aatrox. That confused me for a second.
Oh,
It's sorry. Now we see here Zerg being forced into sacrificing the Aatrox. I think sacrificing Aatrox is the correct choice here. Maintaining the Horazi, especially because of the spell shield, a very valuable unit. And now we probably go for another Anaka. I could see Iratu too, but it just has to be Anaka, and we hope for a Darken top deck and try to somehow get this over with. But actually, considering the equipments, let me count. There is like the only thing we can get because hold on, am I? Oh, I'm not in the right list then, my bad. I was confused because actually Vat is only playing one Darkened Spear, which means only one Anaka. But of course, Zerg is doing the correct play. Plays 3 Darkened Spears. Now protects the Anaka. There's another only the Pioneer, but hey, we got an Anaka, and this is huge for Zerg. He got exactly what he needed, the big high roll from Anaka. Putting this on 8 damage sadly lags the form up or something similar.
But we see the double freeze on the
sharp side, of course. Yeah, of course, but like let me be excited about something before talking it down. So, yeah, of course, Stan, killing the fun. Yeah, there is the freeze. So even if we would have the sharp side, the form up, there would be a way for Vat to interact with it. But this is huge. This at least trades the board a bit and gives us somewhat of an equal position back. And yeah, I'm really looking forward. Would you, in the position of Vat, freeze here to get the value trades, or what would you do?
Go to 1 HP. That's a place where I feel very safe. That's a spot where I feel very safe. And Vat also shares my opinion. And what I'm seeing here, it's 3 mana Ward Ender on the Vat side. Which probably will be played either this turn or probably the next turn.
Probably next turn, I agree with that.
We don't have, but we don't have any units that we can put the equipment on.
Which isn't too bad, because if you just play the Aatrox, we get the cost reduce afterwards, and this is already very valuable.
Yeah, but we are... After this play, we're gonna be left with only 3 mana, because playing Aphelios and Ward Ender means...
But
9.
Yeah, and then from the 3 mana we can play the Tarosh and an 8 cost.
Yeah, but now we top deck the flower.
Yeah.
Which means we can basically have a Aatrox for
nothing. Exactly.
2 mana plus 3 of Ward Ender, so for 5 mana.
Yeah. And now we hear
that sounds like a better Aatrox.
Yes. Zerg here denying the efficient pool from Vat with the Kain, also drawing the Aatrox with equipping the Darkin Ballista. I feel like if Vat wants to win this game, I mean, obviously he wants to, but if what is to win the game, he has to get at least a significant advantage during this turn, and the 3 mana World Ender will help him with that. It is getting played, of course, there's no form of interaction in Zerg's hand. So the World Ender will go through, and what can he play? He can play everything, right? He can play Horazi, he can play the what's it called? The the Tarosh and the Naganika, the ballista.
Yeah, please don't ask me about the names.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
think-
actively playing the Lordle. I don't know if you know the minigame, but
Yeah, I
there's
know
a-
the minigame.
Yeah.
And
And that's how I know a lot of names. But of course, obviously not all of them. You might have noticed during the last weeks. But
I'm
it is
preferring
useful for
to-
casting. It's useful for casting. I can
Yeah,
only
that's
recommend
for
it.
sure. I'm preferring to learn more of the mechanics and to know
Yeah,
all the
because-
interaction than the names. Also, that the fact that I'm playing a little bit in the different languages for fun sometimes
Yeah,
doesn't make
But-
it easier to get English names in the
yeah.
head.
But to be honest, then if you need one thing, it is more experience in game. You need to play more like.
Okay, but
just
going
one
back to
thing, like-
game,
Yeah, back
you
to the
said
game. I'm sorry.
Vat is going to fill the board, but I think he might also keep free mana to have this strike open, so he can guarantee the return by striking the broker.
Yes.
And
Here we can see very beautifully that he equipped the Aatrox spell to the Aatrox equipment to buff Naganika, to the buff Anaka, which puts Aatrox to 11/11 and making it able to trade into the opponent's Aatrox. And now, yeah, like two Aatroxes gathering their armies. Very scary. Indeed, and I think this attack and how it turns out, how Vat will continue to develop and order his attack, will make the result of this game.
yeah, I think Vat should have return somewhere here.
Oh, this is surprising. I mean, there's the Kane attack on the Aatrox, but
So yeah,
But
so for
like-
now he is just healing opponent a little bit.
yeah, and there's
I'm
like, I
assuming
mean, okay,
he-
there's the freeze. I overlooked that.
I'm assuming that he's using that freeze.
Yeah, like other than that, I cannot explain myself why he wouldn't want to develop further here. Maybe even do something with the Aatrox spell. So, okay, now the action is on Vat, and we will most likely see him play the freeze. No. Okay. This is interesting.
Yeah, so what is taking that slowly? Like he's he sees that opponent is having two cards and he knows one of them, right?
Yeah.
And he's having a freeze, so he is pretty sure that he just feels safe at this position, especially with this freeze in hand. So he decided to find the litter in 2 turns.
Yeah. You can now see the Sriracha development and format.
And
Which in
we
combination
see
with
the
the
strike
overwhelm
here.
can
Oh,
be
double freeze now. The
Double
freezes
freeze.
also are very good in the mirrors,
yeah.
as we can see.
Indeed, pre-committing the freeze here, because I mean, I guess he has to. Yeah,
Yeah, so Aatrox is not getting any damage, so he can strike 3 times this turn.
Yes, this is crazy. This is crazy. What finds the play? Like, what turn is it? I have to check. We have turn 12 by now, and yeah, this is this lineup just gives so much entertainment.
Yeah, listen to me, Felix. For a control player, turn 12 is like not even a mid range. Mid-game.
Of course. But like, I really like seeing those games where Aatrox flips and the game still goes on. Because like in some matchups you can just instantly surrender when the Aatrox flips, right? But if it goes on, if you have those mighty units, also for example in the Ionia mirrors, those heavy late games, they really fascinate me, and I'm glad we are finally getting to see some of that here in the Aphrodite League. And we are just waiting here for the final blow coming up, most likely next turn.
Yeah, and the combination of Aatrox spell, I mean the Aatrox strike with freeze was so devastating for Sir this turn. That just for free, he used those 2 cards, but like as a result, he just traded like 3 units for free basically. And now there is no way Sir can defend himself. That is just even adding 1 more unit just to make sure that he is fighting better this turn. And yeah.
This is lethal.
This game was that wrong that I already forgot who won the first game.
What won? So this is a 2-0 for what?
Okay.
A game 3 would be devastating at this point. And Vendorti is already hungrily waiting for his opponent, which will be Vat indeed, because Cirque, after losing his 3rd game in a row, will now move to the elimination bracket. Yeah, we will see here some last spells being played out, but of course we already have the result. Vat here taking the victory in a 40-minute game, in a 40-minute series that only consisted of 2 games after all. Congratulations to Vat here, securing his spot in the corner match, in the most important match of the entire Triangle bracket, the D1, the corner match, where the winner goes to the finals and the loser goes to the elimination bracket next week. Vendorti versus Vat. And yeah, once again, if we could switch to the bracket again to show the paths those 2 players have taken to this point. Vendorti, you can see he started in second place because he scored a second in groups. Therefore, started in the game A2. Could win his first match against Cirque, then lost the 2 afterwards, and now is here in the corner match. His opponent, by the way, Cirque, who also was second place during groups and lost 3 games in a row, and this put him in the spot where he now has to fight against elimination. But he had 3 chances, and this is the prize you get for scoring a good position in groups. Meanwhile, his opponent, Vat 100, had I would say, a rather common way through this bracket. Lost against Kaizen, who just made it straight up through with a 6-0 streak. And won against Buff Nightfall afterwards, won against Cirque, and now it's here in the corner match. Those 2 players are going to be facing each other for the last and final game of this today's stage, the knockout stage of the Aphrodite Alpha League Winter Dawn, and we will watch them after a very short break. So, see you there. Welcome back, everyone. I am glad to have you back here for the last and final match of the Aphrodite Alpha League knockout stage of the Winter Dawn season, and we are going to see Vendorti against VOD 100 here in this corner match of the Triangle Bracket. Once again, the winner of this match will go to finals, while the loser of this match will have to fight against demotion in the elimination bracket next week. So this match has a really high tension, a lot of pressure on both of these players. And what do you think in those situations, Stan, makes the difference?
Yeah, the stakes are getting higher, as you said, and the pressure will be very big on both of them, because one of them will keep a chance to win the final prize and become a winner of the whole 3-week tournament, and the other of the players can get eliminated even next week. So they are right now at the same spot, but they can up on basically on two different spots, like being first and being last.
Yeah,
That can happen.
on the two different ends of the leaderboard. That is quite true, and we actually saw both of these players today already. VOD in just the most recent game, where we had very tight matches with the Aatrox and the Kindred Morgana. On the other hand, Vendorti carving his path with his triple control lineup that just confirms a lot with the current meta. And I mean, Stan, I think we can agree that the deck choices of VOD being Morgana Kindred, Elise, even Kate Aatrox, and Nocturne Vex, those are not meta staples, but he still got his way through. He didn't get eliminated yet, and he has a chance to get into finals.
That's very true. I mean, saying that Nocturne Vex is not a meta, it is true right now, but it will be probably one of the most played decks in this rotation. If we take it like from if we count from like the very beginning of the rotation, it was a very popular deck. Right now, it lost a little bit of on popularity, but yeah, we see like a strong mid-range lineup from VOD.
Yeah, that is true. And I would like to talk about both the lineups one more time. I mean, we already had the Vendorti earlier, so I would say let's start with Vendorti because that's a bit more in the past. Starting with the Anivia Mordekaiser. Basically, yeah, well, the normal Mordekaiser version, right? The Mordekaiser deck, but with ramp and the ability to print Anivias for heavy swings later on, while still maintaining a lot of control over the board.
You have also possibility of print the Broadirs and get infinite trials. I mean,
True.
you are limited with a board space, obviously, but yeah, but you can do it as a fancy play. I would say. I'm saying as a fancy play because it's like a very late of a play, and in most of the games, it won't be an option. But as we see from the previous games, like the games, if they get to like turn 12, 13, then that play will be a very powerful one.
Indeed, and moving on, talking about powerful plays, probably the deck that represents the most powerful players at all is Ramp. Only playing around, having big units, having big spells at the end of the game. And this is the second deck of Vendorti that he is bringing here. Trundle, Volibear, Ionia, a deck that we've seen so much during this patch. And I mean, we briefly talked about it earlier already. 3 Mina Swiftwoods, which can get you into tricky situations. 3 Heart of the Trees. So, Stan, like I said, it's a meta staple. Not anymore so much, but like, why or in which situations does it struggle? Because we've seen it today, and it didn't have much success, right?
Yeah, it obviously struggled with all the forms of the aggro. Like your only real answer to all the aggro strategies is Avalanche, and you only play 2 copies of that card because it's some matchup is pretty useless. But all the other stuff, it's either ramp or like a big unit that you want to play very late in a game. So you don't really have that many defensive options in this deck.
That is true, and
The deck needs time. Basically, it needs time.
It needs time indeed, and I mean already grasping forward with the mid-range lineup of that. Getting time is not really a luxury you have. But before we talk about the actual lists of that, we go to the third deck, Victor Heimerdinger, a deck we've seen a lot during this day. There's not much to say because we already talked about so much. We are missing the Glorious Evolution. I think no one played it this week. And aside from that, Forge Chief for early game presence, 2 Heart of the Tree instead of 3. And yeah, not too much interesting here. I mean, we all have seen Victor Heimerdinger so much, but what we have not seen so much of are the decks of VOD. Starting off with Nocturne Vex. You're definitely right, Stan. We've seen the deck fairly often. But how does it do into the stalling game that Vendorti wants to play?
So the first thing I'm noticing is that the harrowing might be a little bit useless in most of the matchups because opponent is on a double Ionia lineup, so he's having answers with deny, obviously.
Yes.
The deck can be like can have some aggressive hands, but this version is a little bit of a more controlish one. We don't see the fearsome bird, the 4/1 when
Yes.
it hits the board as a nightfall. I
Stitch and
don't know.
Onlooker, yeah.
Yeah, that one exactly. Thanks, Flixus. And we see a lot of units that depends on slaying, either opponent unit or your unit. And if we think about the Trundle for River, for example, they don't need to play like those early units. They can just ramp without putting anything on the board. So on its own, Nocturne Vex might not be fast enough, in my opinion. But we will see.
Yeah, we will see. There's only one way to find out, I would say. Moving on to the second deck, which is Kane Aatrox. We've seen it earlier in action. Yeah, Stan, you gave a very good explanation earlier, so maybe could you give us and the viewers a quick rundown and especially focus on the Art of Devastation and why it's so important?
Yeah, so in a deck that is that we see right now on the screen, the Utter Devastation works like one-sided ruination, which keeps all the Darkins that you have on a board, or the units that are having equipment on it, that are equipped, and removing all the opponent's units on the board. That's why it's so powerful. Obviously, it costs 11 mana. But, one-sided ruination sounds like a cool thing, no?
Yeah, of course it does, and especially in the decks that want to have a big board, like the Victor Heimerdinger with the turrets. Well, yeah, I guess the Trundle will be a semi, but also like just being able to somehow remove the Mordekaiser, that is so important. And
also,
yeah.
I would like to say that this is a very good example of how the mid-range decks are working. This is like a deck that can be like very explosive in the early game if you have all those small units or the small followers, especially having the Ranger Knight Defector with Darkin Harp on the top on turn 4, especially if you have attack token that turn. But also it's not getting out of value later because you have all those equipment that can be transformed into the Darkin form, providing big followers with big value.
Yeah. And then finally moving on to the last deck, which is a big surprise. Morgana Kindred. The main point here is probably that Kindred synergizes very well with the Deathgrasp Hate Spike slaying mechanic, which Morgana, because you target so many units, also is very good with. And you can see the Undying, aside the slaying synergies, and the necrotic Arachnoid, the spider that drains one from the enemy nexus whenever an ally dies, which happens a lot in Slay decks. So this is the deck, and how, like, what do you think? How does it do in this meta?
It's a very hard question because I've never experienced this matchup. I've never experienced this deck, basically. I've never played against it on a ladder. That's like some creativity from that to build this deck. And I really like the choice of double SI Tailstones. Because like Tailstones, I really like how those cards are built, or the Tailstones, because they give you so much flexibility. You have free choices every time you play this card. You're paying one more, but you gaining a lot. And especially in this deck, the 5 mana fast spell that enable you to sacrifice something is a good protection tool. For example, for Kindred, or for example for the Arcanoid, that when you sacrifice that unit, it revives and you are getting additional 2 followers from the effect.
Yeah. And yeah, I really like the creativity from Bud here to bring this deck, and let's see how this turns out. We can quickly take a look at the bans that those two players have made, being where are the bans? I am waiting.
But
Nocturne. Okay, so when Doherty bans, when
but
Doherty
I would be wrong. I would be wrong with the predictions this time.
when Doherty bans the Nocturne Vex, so the like, yeah,
Probably the most
the pressure,
aggressive from those.
yeah, the pressure, the tempo, the aggression actually, and that I think I have not thought it through because I don't know the matchups, especially of the Kane Aatrox and the Kindred Morgana too well. But I can see that you ban Victor Heimerdinger just because how oppressive and consistent it is going to the later stages of the game. That you sometimes have to go in when you're playing Morgana, when you're playing the Aatrox, and at least you can. You know, when you maintain pressure over the course of the game, you can win still into the Trundle Volibear. But Victor Heimerdinger has its tools, or has way better tools to survive. But let's see how this turns out in the actual game. Let's jump right into the final match of the knockout stage. Let's jump into the corner match of the triangle bracket and see who takes it home, who goes to finals, and who might end up being eliminated from the league. The first matchup of the day, or the first matchup of the match, is Kane Aatrox into Trundle Volibear, and Stan, you know what I'm going to ask you.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of blue or white cards on the Vendorti side, which means he's having a lot of RAM. That's a good sign. You probably, your goal should be probably to get to the 8 mana ASAP in this matchup. On the VOD side, we see this oppressive 4-drop with some kind of a protection of a spell shield. Of a spell sheet in the hand. But we see pretty good of an answer with a Trundle. I think that VAT would like to have this harp on a different unit with this attack.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, the Trundle value traded pretty well here. Okay.
It's a lot about stabilizing here. When Doherty doesn't really have the luxury to ramp a lot. Develops Heart of the Tree here.
This is one of the few matchups when you can do it very safely, when you are sure that opponent cannot play any form of removal to your landmark, because it's just not existing in
the
Runeterra region.
I always loved to play with my temple decks to King Aatrox because I could just drop temple and win.
Yeah, that's very true.
That easy.
We getting Kane by playing like 4 different followers already.
Which is very early. We can play the Kane here for the attack.
But because of the Trundle that is already buffed from a tree, we don't really have a good attack here.
That's true. We probably want to kill a Trundle with a fierce wielder play long term. So all we are going to do is grabbing something here with the Cane to get the first strike, and okay, sacrificing the burrow cultist to get 1 damage in. I think that's all this attack does.
Yeah, the Stranded did already so much work in this game. It traded twice, and he's still on a board without any threat, and he's not dying soon. And next turn he is leveled if Vendorti decides to play a pillar, but I don't see a reason not to. And we're gonna see what gonna be the what Vendorti is going to choose. I think it might be Ledros, yeah. It's especially that the opponent is on a full health still, so playing a Ledros means that opponent is going down to 10 HP at this point.
Yeah. And Ledros will swing over and over again. And I mean he can freeze it, but he has to deal with it on the long term. And Ledros is just such a good pull.
What is having 2 strike spells, but then we look at his board and the units are too small to make a use, like to use it like efficiently.
Yeah.
Also, he needs to keep some mana as a backup because like Vendorti can answer with either deny or like recall. Right now it's just deny because he is on 4 mana, but still.
Yeah, so here 8 mana on that side. Enable double fuse wielder as well as 1 freeze. Unforgiving cold.
Yeah, this game is looking very very good for Vendorti.
Yeah, Vendorti definitely taking
With a double
big advantage here.
freeze, Vat can defend himself for maybe 1 or 2 rounds, but right now we are not seeing like how Vat is changing the outcome of this game. The Kane is the Kane leveling from the strike? Yeah, it is. We will see what form is Vat going to choose. From my experience, the overwhelm form is like more common, but here in this scenario, Vat decided to go for the elusive form. Yeah, that's probably one way that you can deal some damage to Vendorti.
And I mean, Vat really has to go for the strategy of going for cheese damage because by playing on a conventional way, by winning over the board, you won't get far here anymore because
On the other hand, we see like
Ramp came online at this point.
yeah, but we see also so many 1 HP units on the Vendorti side that getting the overwhelm also was an option definitely to do the damage as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so there is a Aatrox top deck. I don't know what is the cost of the Ward Ender right now, but I would predict it can be around 11, 12,
Should
somewhere
still be
there.
pretty high. But what is very important here is that the Kane now has stability to trade into the Trundle if he would have gotten an attack. That means. Which he doesn't anymore.
As we can see, those freezes are definitely buying some time to that.
Yeah. I mean, 10 HP, he still has the Kane free attack unit.
Yeah, but without the equipment, the Kane attack is not growing anymore. So
yeah, that's true.
you actually need like 3 more attacks. I mean, even more. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, but we never know. We never know. But this open attack definitely looks scary, even though Vaj has the unforgiving cold. But yeah, it's so big. The explorers here being able to challenge blockers away, and I mean, Vat will survive this, but not in a very good spot.
Also, when I'm looking at the Vendorti hand right now, he's having all the answers he want to have. He has recourse. Also, this form of recall is like superior because it destroys the equipment, right?
Yeah, which is in this specific matchup very, very important.
He also is having one of the nine to negate the Ward Ender play. Yeah, he's just at a very comfortable position right now.
Yeah, the game is getting close again, but the deny in Vendorti's hand is such a big threat, or not a threat, but such a big comfort, you could say, for Vendorti. And the question is, you probably don't deny this. But
I mean, yeah, you go for the nine here for sure.
do you? I mean, oh yeah, because this Zerato is equipped. Yeah,
Yeah,
my bad. I have overlooked that.
I mean, honestly, there is an option when you just bounce back the scout unit, so the Strato is getting destroyed.
Yeah, and here the second heart of the tree going on. So in 2 turns, Vendorti will have another choice of an 8 or more cost card that has the potential of winning the game. And talking about winning the game, we have Mina Swiftwood top deck here from Vendorti, being able to recall 3 units.
Yeah, that's insane.
Is just so important. The card comes from the Foundation card set, so it was there from the very beginning, but it's still so strong and decides games over and over again in this current meta. Of course it is dependent, because it only really finds use in the specific combination of Freljord, Ramp, and Ionia. But in this deck, it really shines, and that's why Vendorti plays it as a free off to win those games from these scenarios without taking any more risk.
Yeah, Vad decided to go wider this turn, but it was mostly to see what he is top decking from the predict, because he is not getting through with adding more units to the on a board, because Vendorti is already on a full board of buffy units. But he is going for this cheap elusive damage. Yeah, but I've seen already Vendorti on 10 HP, so he is not like Vat is not moving forward with his strategy, honestly.
Yeah. But really has a hard time biting through stones, you might say.
Yeah, I think the Mina gonna be like oh, that's a top deck.
We see. Oh, Cyphria Lady of Clouds. That's
Finally, interesting things are starting.
yeah. That's how you end a game in style. Although it doesn't.
I mean,
Because I see another devastation.
yeah,
So
Vendorti decided to play around the only one card that can punish him.
which just shows how good of a player he is.
Exactly. With the double recall, he is aware that any strike spell is not enough to stop him. He is aware that Vat already played 2 copies of freezes, and yeah, he probably it's almost certain that he can just close the game here.
Yeah. I most definitely agree on that with you here. what sets up for a Furious Wielder that will be denied by a recall. And the second Furious Wielder will most likely then have the same fate. It's a bit different, like this, but I think if that just lets this go through, then
Yeah, that's a
Then Dork
difference
is happy.
between the good players and the best players. That the best players know when they cannot play the 5-mana Citria. Even he was very tempted to do that.
I mean, you've seen the short break, and he was like,
Yeah.
"I want to," but he did the correct play and correctly assessed the danger of the other devastation, and this puts Vendorti to match point here in the corner match, in the final match of the knockout stage. And Vendorti is only one game away from once again, like just the same as in the 2 test runs he participated in, make it to the final bracket. And let's see
Yeah,
if he's able to make that.
Yeah, that's amazing. That, like in the previous game, that Vendorti was the whole time on the driver's seat and in elite, but like if he would done like a small misstep at the end of the game, he could have easily lose that.
Yeah, and now we see here in the game Nivea Mordekaiser of the side of Vendorti, and Vat also switching his deck to the Kindred Morgana. A very, very late game heavy hand that we see here from Vendorti. So let's get into it. Oh, and was another Nivea. But both hands really don't like proactive at all. It is just going to be press the button, press the big button. Gameplay. Oh, we have a fading icon. That is actually doing something, but it will be answered with a glare. I am a bit sure of that, at least.
Yeah, two SI decks. It's not something that we've seen too much in the Aphrodite League.
Yeah.
Neither this or like a previous week, or like in the qualification. Like the SI is not the most popular region right now.
Yeah.
But here we have 2 of them, and I'm like Vendorti is having like more. He's way more favorite in this matchup, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just Mordekaiser on its own makes difference.
Yeah. And we have here the spot for Nivea, but Vendorti decides to openly pass. Which I get because he has power in this, like he is comfortable with passing in this board space, in this board state, I mean, and
Now both players need to act because they are on 10 cards.
yeah,
Unless
there
they
is
want
the
to.
Nivea, maybe answered by a Morgana. I could imagine that, and then yeah, now the SI games may start. The thing is, Vendorti can just ignore the curse on the Nivea because he can revive Nivea with the Mordekaiser, and that way the curse disappears. And this will also put the first print, or the first revive on the Nivea. To be honest, I never liked a Nivea printer. I think it is a quite boring concept. But that is just my subjective view, because I am bored of SI Mirror.
Are you, or the real reason is that you lost too many times to 6 Anivia white?
Hey, no, we are talking, nah. How dare you accusing me of that? Yeah, I must admit, it's also quite frustrating to lose into it, but of course it never happened to me.
But maybe we will be able to see 6 Anivia this game, or we already have 2.
We already
one
have
in the
2.
egg form. Another one is dying pretty soon.
Yeah, seems like it. I mean, we can glimpse it. Oh, never mind. Okay, yeah, well, we can glimpse the ruination, I guess. Anivia flipping here and therefore surviving. I mean, survives anyways. But this puts us into an open attack.
Okay, Vendorti used an emote.
I mean, I think if he does it make a difference if he glimpses his Anivia? No, it doesn't.
We finally see the Kindred, but it's a little bit too late for that unit.
Yeah, indeed.
To have an impact on the game. Yeah,
There's the spider. Both players on 20 HP, and there's another ruination. We love a Mirror. So nothing much happening here in this game. Trintan, no damage has been done yet.
But this Anivia will slowly but surely get there, and
yes, of course.
Should
And
be
the board here really sets VOD on a timer. VOD on the edge of losing his spot here in the finals bracket. Remember that Vendorti is on match point. That means that if Vendorti happens to decide this game for himself, he will be able to represent Slovakia in the finals bracket, while his mate Cirque, also from Slovakia, sadly has to go to the elimination bracket. You see.
Yeah, the one thing that we already know that there will be 2 APAC players and 2 EMEA players in a top 4 of Aphrodite tournament. So the chances gonna be equal for both regions.
Yeah, and we'll see who will come out on top. Although we have to recognize that both APAC players are coming from Vietnam, Newman and Kaisen. And they
any
both...
ideas why there is no American players there?
I mean, the thing is, maybe it's just about the time zones, right? It's probably that that all the tournaments that ever happened globally as well were just very inconvenient for the Americans, and therefore they couldn't perform as good. And of course, like if we would put it to better times. But
yeah, or maybe it's just because we have the best possible players here.
No. Yeah, of course it is. I just try to be polite here. Okay.
No, but being serious, like, yeah, time zones is probably one of the reasons. Like, the game starts pretty early in the morning for them.
Yes.
But on the other hand, it's like pretty. It's almost midnight for like APAC players, so it's probably not the perfect time for them as well. Getting back to the game, we just talked a little bit about some on different topics because not too much happening there. But as we said, like Vendorti is slowly but surely getting some damage on the Nexus. Yeah, and that is not having too many threats right now. Like the Kindred on its own might not be enough to change the outcome of this game. But right now, Vendorti is not having any direct answer for this Kindred.
Yeah, but now here we see what you mentioned before, the Boardier getting killed by Mordekaiser, and therefore we have at least the threat of 3 thralls and the bug that puts the second landmark on on a 9 timer instead of 2.
Yeah, this play would be even better if it worked correctly.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a small indie company that is
yeah
taking care of this game. So of course we have to respect that.
And like in many scenarios, there is, anyways, no place on the board to have this second landmark, so it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, of course. Now we see here the Death Crest play getting denied by an Vile Feast, and the Kindred being all alone against this heavy board that Vendorti has been putting up. There's the possibility for Tarash coming now onto the board and maybe trying to somehow get back into the game. Morgana is a play too.
Yeah,
But
with
aside-
this
aside-
Vengeance
aside-
top deck,
Aside from that, we have the single combats, we have the hate spike, but no really, not really units to play it with. So VOD is in a very tough spot once again here.
yeah, I was a little bit of silent because I was really trying to figure out the way how the VOD can get back to this game. As you said, Tarosh was an option, but I don't think like he would bring back too many units at this point. Morgana is more of a defensive option for sure. I think that can survive one more turn maybe with the Kindred spell.
Yeah, but like surviving and winning is
Yeah,
a very long path, but yeah, at least he can hope for another top deck.
keep playing more than one Ruination or just one, because if he is playing more, then maybe with a Ruination top deck. We don't have that many of refill on the Vendorti side, but he has Gleams. He has like 2 6/6 overwhelms.
Yeah,
So that might not be even another Ruination might not be enough. But I'm not even sure if Vat is playing like more than one copy, and he already played one. So
yeah. Vendorti has everything. He has hand advantage. Now he has board advantage, health advantage. Well, I guess VOD has 1 mana.
yeah, Vendorti is denying this Kindred stacks like very efficiently.
Yeah, we see here the open attack, and this should be game deciding, if I'm not mistaken.
It's
Yeah,
not a retail theoretically, but I probably would just press surrender at this point. But we are in a tournament. This is like the final
Yeah.
game, and VOD decided to give us a little bit more of the gameplay.
never surrender.
So we really appreciate that.
Of course we do. Kindred sadly only targeting the spiderling now.
But Kindred is dying in the process, so not even the Spiderlink is dying.
True. And Vendorti is sitting here on the full hand, while VOD doesn't have anything to play.
Yeah,
I think VOD will just desperately play towers.
it looks a little bit like a poker hand on the VOD side.
And yeah, there's no hard removal, but Tarash will attack. We see the harsh winds. There's no way whatsoever that Vendorti
But we
will
can-
still lose this.
We can at
right?
least see the units.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Beautiful.
I mean,
Oh, because
honestly,
because of the kindred spell.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
And I mean the not spiderling, I don't know what's it called. The 8-mana spider is doing some work, but as I already said, the harsh winds are there. And just surviving is enough here for Vendorti because the units are ephemeral. And swinging next turn will decide the game most likely. Especially if you consider the Mordekaiser that Vendorti just drew.
Yeah, that doesn't change too much. But like that was a good attempt to to at least scare the opponent a little bit.
Yeah, as I said, it's kind of a desperate play when you know that you're already lost, but you still want to play it out. Mordekaiser even flipping here. It's like Yeah, it's the worst possible scenario. But high respect to Vat for not pressing the surrender button, and playing it out, giving Vendorti the satisfaction of one last attack, the last attack of the knockout stage here in the Aphrodite Alpha League. Vendorti therefore qualifies with a 2-0 victory for the finals. Well, I did miss the top deck, but I don't think it matters, right?
He's still trying.
He is trying, yeah, but I don't. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. Yeah, he's just doing for funsies. Yeah, Vendorti qualifying for the finals, and therefore we have our finalists of the Aphrodite Alpha League: Winter Dawn being Newman, Lunaya, ABJ Kaizen, and Vendorti. And we
Congratulations to all of you guys.
Big congrats. Those four will then fight out in the next week who will be the first champion of the Aphrodite League. And while the other four in the red brackets that we see, Ismail, APH Buff Nightfall, Zurk, and VAT 100, will fight against Emotion and try to maintain their spot in the league. So one thing is for sure, there is much tension still going on. There is so much to still achieve. Because, for example, rank 5, so the winner of the elimination bracket, still gets their entry fee back. And also your seeding at the end of the season matters for the group. So the better you finish, the better your group will be in the end. And what an amazing day this was. I mean, we can say all the decision matches on the right-hand side of the triangle bracket were 2-0s, but especially if we remember back the match between Zurk and VAT 100, that was one banger of a series, wasn't it?
Yeah, you're right. Like, I'm really glad that we've seen something else that only the matches on the right, which were like pretty one-sided at the end. But as you said, like players are not playing just only for a glory. They are playing for some stakes, for some money, and even the players that are playing in the elimination bracket in the bottom four for next week, they have something to play for. And they need to defend their spot to stay in the league.
Yeah. But what we definitely see from this week, there is a lot of creativity, there's a lot of determination in the players. We see the different lineups, Newman with Aphidas Victor, Zillion, Echo Draven, Jinx. A very solid lineup that might be probably one of the best lineups currently available. Kaizen surprising everyone with a 6-0 run on his triple aggro lineup. Lunaya at first underperforming a bit, but then taking the 2-0 victory into Vendorti. So many things happened today, and I am glad that I was there with you, Stan, that I was there with you, dear viewership. I hope you had a great day watching those games, and make sure to be there when the first champion of the Aphrodite Alpha League will be determined next week. See you there.
See you guys.
T'es la meilleure chose qui m'est arrivée, mais aussi la pire chose qui m'est arrivée. Ce jour où je t'ai rencontré, j'aurais peut-être préféré que ce jour ne soit jamais arrivé. La pire des bénédictions, la plus belle des malédictions. De toi je devrais m'éloigner, mais comme dit Mami, please, deja ese orgullo, que yo sé que nada es sobre tuyo. Guantanamera, Bahía Guantanamera, Guantanamera.
Done. Woo! Yeah, body
poppin', then you know we showing up. Bad beat from the east to you reppin', just throw it up. Real brothers show me love cause they loving the way I puff.
Didn't ask to see the light of day. We were born without a say. Trying to find your...
Here's the story about a little guy that lives in a blue world. And all day and all night, and everything he sees is just blue. Like him, inside and outside. Blue his house with a blue little window and a blue Corvette. And everything is blue for him.
Wie man an der Liebe maximal romantisch lebt, will jeder wissen, keiner hilft uns. Fairplay, Gott sei Dank gibt es Film und Fernsehen, da wo ich meine Bildung hernehme. Glaub mir, das
yeah, this the real one, baby. I'm telling you, Chi-Town stand up. South side, we gon' set this party off right. West side, we gon' set this party off right.